All right, Shalom, friends, part 2. Fear. I'm reading from an excellent book, and interestingly enough, called The Way of Chinese Herbs. Now, we have this book, which was written by Michael Tierra and another medical doctor. And you can see who that person is because we have another book by this guy called The Way of Herbs, which is an incredible book. But I'm going to read a little bit from this book. And he's just talking about causes of disease. We are affected in so many ways. They've got us running all these different directions, saying, vaccines cause all of these issues, and the people have got to stop 5G, and we got to stop the spraying of the skies, and water's dirty, and the environment's dirty. It's all of that. We got to stop GMOs. Yes, 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 and all of that, yes. Yes, all of that is a problem, and we have got to be very serious about how we're taking care of ourselves. And when you sit down in front of a television, or you sit down in front of your phone, or your laptop, or your tablet, and you watch all of this stuff that they're pumping out to you, whatever it is, another shooting here, and, they got you, riding on that, red or blue train. I'm afraid my candidate's not going to get it. Oh, God, what if the other side makes it into the White House or the Senate or the Congress and all that BS. It's two sides of the same friggin' ladder going up to the top, which is evil, period. But they've got people. The people lost their freaking minds when Donald Trump got elected. As an idol for people to worship. That might have even been a better word. If Hillary Clinton got elected, people would have lost their freaking minds. People go into a depression. Look, when you're dealing with sadness causes a depletion of your life energy in your heart and your lungs. And it results in diseases associated with breathlessness, shortness of breath, asthma, emphysema, frequent colds and bouts of influenza. Sadness. If you're dealing with pensiveness, which is the excessive worry, watch enough of this stuff about the coronavirus, and I bet you're pensive. That can lead to symptoms of digestive orders, fatigue, low appetite, weakness. If you're dealing with grief, and on some level, when we're watching, people dying, and we're watching all these terrible things going on, grief can be a part of it. Can injure our lungs, weaken our resistance to cold and influenza, and cause chronic upper respiratory diseases such as asthma, emphysema, and allergies. When we're full of fear, in the sense of paranoia, then that depletes and injures our kidneys, causes lower back pain. If we're feeling afraid in the sense of fright, which is sort of shock. And look, you watch a video of people dropping, and you're supposedly dropping dead from the coronavirus. There's a little bit of fright there. There is. And we got to be honest with ourselves about what we're watching and what our responses to that is. It's different than fear or paranoia because it's more sudden, and it causes sort of a scattering of energy within us. It injures our heart. We can have palpitations, causes breathlessness, and it also has a negative effect on our kidneys. I'm just making the point that when we're dealing with these sorts of things, there's also, of course, anger, resentment, frustration, irritability, bitterness, animosity. That screws it with that. That messes up our liver. We get, liver imbalance, hypertension, blurred vision, mental confusion, all sorts of things. So look, we can't, and not only that, we just simply do not think clearly and make sound decisions when we're afraid. And that's a part of what this is. I don't know how many people are sick, and I don't know how many people are dying, and I don't know if any of us really need to be truly concerned about this coronavirus. I'm just simply going to tell you that there hasn't been one in my state. And I can, you can say, well, that's the reason why I'm not concerned. I am not going to be afraid. I'm not afraid today. My wife Teresa's not afraid. We choose not to be fearful about this virus. We choose to be sober-minded. And I don't mean sit around doing nothing and say, it's no big deal. Something is going on. Something is happening. And it's more than one something. They're killing more than one bird with the stone here. And of course, part of that is to make us afraid, so we run right into the arms of those who enslave us and beg them to save us, because we really need to give them power. Because the power is ours. We have inalienable rights that are bestowed upon us by our Creator, and our enemy can't take that from us. We have to give it up, which we do. We sell ourselves into slavery over and over again. We sell our freedom for cures and safety. And when does the government keep their end of the bargain? I've made this point before about the police. Somebody breaks into my house right now. I call the cops. I could live in a place where the police are going to show up as fast as possible. By the time they get here, I'm shot or beaten, robbed. My family's hurt or worse. The only person who can protect my family is me. We can protect ourselves. Police are going to show up afterward and write reports, and probably arrest me if I protect my family against somebody breaking into my house, frankly. So the government's not protecting us. We've sold. It's a covenant that we enter into fraudulently, and the government doesn't keep their end. And we've sold our freedom. We cannot be afraid. Stop being afraid. And take a step back. Don't watch it. It's also meant to be addicting. Things are happening in your brain. And when we watch this sort of thing, it's like, why the hell does anybody watch a horror movie? It's friggin' ridiculous, but people are addicted to that. Why do people want to see the gore? Why do they look to see if they could see a leg hanging out of a car or in a car accident? Why does anybody want to see that? On some sick level, there's entertainment value in that for us. There's sort of a sick, addictive fascination. And I keep saying it, you got to break free. We talk about television. It's just like those freaking Hulu commercials. You're not going to shut off your phone and your tablet and your TV. Shut all that stuff off. Don't take in too much of this, because you can't think straight when you do. There's a lot more going on than just there's a pandemic that's going to wipe out, all the people. Now, maybe this fellow who's this whistleblower here who's talking about how 50% of the population is going to be gone after they, have a world war and the systems break down. Well, yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I'm not saying that there's nothing to that. I'm saying there's a lot to that. But don't be afraid of the pandemic from a cold virus. Don't be afraid of that. But don't do nothing either. And I'm going to share a couple other things with you. I just think they're super important things to think about. We have to stop putting our time and our energy into being entertained, and to chasing after the fear, and to whatever else we do. Look, I still don't know what the score of the Super Bowl was. I'm actually kind of mad that I know who won, because I was watching a video of something important to me on YouTube, something about, I don't know, raising chickens or building a rocket mass heater or something of that nature. And there it shows suggested videos. Was it the coach of the 49ers' fault that they lost the Super Bowl? So I know who lost the Super Bowl. I know who won the Super Bowl. That's all I know. Stop watching that crap. Stop watching the news, because it's not news. The technology is a weapon, and the information is propaganda. Those two things are fact. Cut it out. And what we got here on social media is no different. What we've got on YouTube is no different. Find trusted voices. If you start hearing your own voice telling you, be concerned about this trusted voice, and I'm talking about the little people who are sharing information. Well, stop watching then. Be tuned into yourself. What's going on in your heart and your mind? How you feeling? If you're feeling afraid, step back. Step way back if necessary. You don't have to get on the website here that shows what the count is. There's a live tracker, just like the debt tracker. See the the live case updates for how many people have the coronavirus and how many people have died and how many people have recovered and how many countries it's in. Stop looking at that all the time. Stop searching for people dropping out. Think about these things that I'm telling you about. Think about them, please. Think about the fact that they could be spraying the same stuff that they're spraying to supposedly kill mosquitoes. I got a lot of freaking mosquitoes. I tell you what I don't have is dragonflies. And I've looked into it. Dragonflies are prolific killers of mosquitoes. Dragonflies in their larval stage will eat 100 mosquito larvae in a day or more, a couple hundred maybe. And then an adult dragonfly can catch and eat 100 or more mosquitoes, adult flying around mosquitoes in a day. I live in southeast Louisiana. Dragonflies should be everywhere. We hardly see them. I guarantee you that this crap that they're spraying out here is killing the dragonflies. Plant plants and stop poisoning the dragonflies and they'll eat the mosquitoes. If you go out into the swamp where they don't spray, see, I've been on swamp tours down here in southeast Louisiana. People think swamps are dirty places. There's not a lot of mosquitoes in a swamp. There's a lot of dragonflies in the swamp. And the swamp doesn't smell. The swamps are beautiful places. Most people don't know that. They're beautiful places. And you're not going to get bitten up by too many mosquitoes in a swamp, generally speaking. They're spraying this poison, and part of what that poison can do to you is give you a neurological syndrome. Sudden tremors, prostration, seizures, death, writhing movements. And I'll tell you what, there's a little Ford Ranger that drives up and down my street, and I just want to drive my van into that friggin' thing and smash it into a pole. They fly over us with friggin' aircraft. We have unmanned aerial vehicles flying over my township, spraying that crap on us to kill the mosquitoes. The stuff coming out of the back of that truck looks just like these videos. You're watching them driving with trucks down the 8-lane, highways with giant tubes spraying everything. What the frig is that? If it's this, if it's pyrethroids, yeah. You might have people having tremors, being uncoordinated, falling out prostrated, having seizures and dying. You might. The disinfectants have pretty serious problems. The 5G EMFs, it's biological weapons, man. It's not biological in that it's a biological weapon itself, but it's a weapon against our biology. Look, you go into the hospital with a cold or a flu, and you're already sort of weak with it, you're sick. What do they do to you? They fill you full of glucose. They give you an IV, they fill you full of glucose. You know what thrives in your body when you're full of sugar? Virus. They do the exact opposite of what you should do. There's so many foods that are rich in vitamin C that you can eat if you're sick. They tell you drink juice. The juice has none of the good stuff, all of the sugar. Yeah, vitamin C, but so what? It's like drinking milk that they take all the fat out of and they pasteurize it and they homogenize it and they say drink this because it's got calcium and it's good for your bones, but it's really acidic and the acid destroys your bones. I mean, don't you get it yet? It's all lies to make you sick and weak and dumb. That's what they're doing to us. And we got to stop listening. Don't be afraid of this, but do something. Number one, find peace. Find shalom, well-being in every way. And you find that in the presence of the Father. And start learning things that really matter. I've shared this already. There's a million other things I could read, but I think these are powerful things, and I'm going to read them again, and then I'm going to just show you some of the books we're reading. And maybe I'll tell you a couple of stories. This is important stuff, guys. Whether you're going to be exposed to a naturally occurring virus, which it ain't natural, or you're going to have to get vaccinated because somebody comes and it's mandatory and you don't feel like fighting the fight and you're going to have to do it. Get yourself ready. You can get ready for a vaccination with cod liver oil, taking in vitamin C, taking in B12, eating sulfur foods, rich sulfur foods like liver, egg yolks, some of the mushrooms that are out there. I read in here about what happens. The most important issue concerning vaccines is this alteration that occurs with each and every inoculation with respect to our immune system. The immune system has two distinct arms. The first arm, Th1, is the humoral immune system, which responds to microbial invaders by making antibodies. These antibodies remember which microbes have already been exposed, we've been exposed to in order to give us long-term immunity to them. The second arm is the Th2, or cell-mediated immune system, which involves the white blood cells, whose job it is to digest, gobble up, and eliminate the invaders through the various elimination channels in the body: sweating, defecation, urination, vomiting. It is important to clearly understand that the symptoms that we call sickness stem from the reaction of our own immune function, and that only minimally do those symptoms come from the microbes themselves. They don't really give us any symptoms. It's our own body causing the symptoms. When we encounter microorganisms in childhood, like a virus associated with chickenpox, varicella, we have no antibody memory of a previous encounter with the virus in the past, and so both arms of our immune system mobilize. The cell-mediated arm digests the microbes, while at the same time causing symptoms that we associate with being sick, such as aches and fever. And then the same cell-mediated arm eliminates the invaders, and probably at the same time other toxic wastes, other toxins in our body, and we have a lot of other toxins in our body today. If we get sick naturally, not only does our body attack that invader and eliminate it, but it cleans our body of other toxins through diarrhea, rash, mucus, and cough. These symptoms are the cleansing part of the process. Look into what it means to detoxify your body. If you detox, you feel sick for a while. Like you feel sick because your body is eliminating the toxins. We've got to detoxify our bodies. We've got to stop putting poisons in our bodies where we can avoid it, and we've got to start putting in the good things that our bodies need to be healthy. And we can resist, and we can overcome, and we can strive and survive. We can, because we have the life of the Father in us, and no weapon that's formed against us shall prosper. But we have to be obedient, and we have to love truth, and we have to seek truth, not entertainment, and not the addictive fear porn. These symptoms are the cleansing part of the process. The author here says you'd never hesitate to remove garbage from your house. Similarly, if you stop or prevent our cell-mediated response to invaders, it leaves the garbage in our body, which is, of course, a big mistake. The cell-mediated reaction is taking place. While that's going on, the humoral arm, the Th1, is busy making antibodies to remember the organism that's making us sick, or making our immune system make us feel sick. And these antibodies, they bind to the invading organisms and tell the white blood cells to digest and excrete them. This process is usually completed in about 6 weeks, and the child is not only restored to health, but has exercised its cell-mediated response and cleansed the body of this particular organism and of other wastes as well. Most importantly, his body now remembers what happened, so he is now stronger and more resistant moving forward. In fact, not only is the child restored to health, but likely healthier than they were before the illness. This is real science, man. Real science. This is the whole point of natural illness in children. Short-term illness improves long-term health. Like a snake shedding its skin, the process involves a certain amount of exertion and may of course carry some risk, but the key point is one cannot be a healthy adult without having gone through some of the process we call sickness in childhood. To deny children the opportunity to be sick and then expect health in adulthood is like asking someone to lift a heavy weight without ever having lifted a weight before in their lives. You can't do it. Sit on your couch, watch television, and then get up and run a marathon. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Look, if you've not listened to Senator Kennedy, I can't think of his name, senator or not. I should share this link. 54% of kids today have chronic illness. You'll go back, whatever the time frame is, I don't remember the numbers. I've got all of this stuff written somewhere. It's something like under 12%. Why are kids chronically ill? In contrast to this all happened after 1989 or 1988 when the drug companies are no longer liable for any damage. They can't get sued when they hurt people with inoculations, with injections. They can't get hurt. They can't get sued. They can't lose money. Yeah, there's vaccine injury, 4.2 billion. You pay for that and I pay for that, not the companies that make the crap. In contrast to the picture that I've just read out of here, consider what happens when instead of allowing the children to contract illness naturally and force the experience of a vaccine, they are designed to provoke as little cell-mediated reaction as possible. After all, cell-mediated reaction is sickness, and if vaccines make people sick, it's back to the drawing board to clean up the vaccine. The whole point of vaccines is to provoke Th1, the memory, without the Th2, or the cell-mediated response, which is the part that makes us stronger and healthier. And it goes on to talk about lots of other things, but I'm not going to read all that. Look, this book, that stuff right there. Get this book. Starts on page 116 of this book right here, the Nourishing Traditions book of baby and child care. And I've said it before, this is not just about kids. There's a lot more to it than that. Read this book. You can read this book, but maybe don't read that one first. I read in here a very interesting thing. I'm going to read it again. This is an interesting book. Healing Herbs for Women. And I've read this information in other books. This is the only one I can find it in right now. And it's talking about ginseng, but there's other things. Ginseng root has been used as a tonic to improve resistance to infectious disease in traditional Asian medicine for several thousand years. Research studies have confirmed that ginseng root improves immune function by stimulating the activity of the natural killer cells. We're talking about the Th2, the cell-mediated response, and increasing the production of lymphocytes, which is adversely affected by disinfectants being sprayed on you. How about that? An article published in Drugs Under Experimental Clinical Research discussed the results of a study in which the ability of ginseng to improve immune response to the influenza vaccine. Improve the immune response, not just the Th1, not the memory, but the actual eradication. The Th2, the cell-mediated response. It improved the cell-mediated response to the influenza vaccine. So the people felt sick instead of not feeling sick. And it was evaluated versus a placebo. 227 adult volunteers were given either 100 milligrams of a standard extract of ginseng root or a placebo daily over a 12-week period. All of the volunteers were given an influenza vaccine at week 4. The volunteers taking the ginseng root showed a significantly greater immune response to the influenza vaccine than did those in the placebo group. In addition, the individuals in the treatment group experienced fewer cases of influenza and fewer colds than those in the placebo group. What am I telling you that for? I'm telling you because stop being afraid. What does it mean for us to get ready, to prepare? Man, part of it starts with knowledge. Rosemary Gladstar's Family Herbal, A Guide to Living Life with Energy, Health, and Vitality. That's a good book. Identifying and Harvesting Edible and Medicinal Plants. That's a good book. The Green Pharmacy. That's a good book. The Herbal Apothecary. This is a great book. Edible Wild Mushrooms, Fruits, Nuts, Plants, Finding, Identifying, Cooking. This book has some information about the medicinal benefits of these things. This is a pretty good book. Mushrooming Without Fear. I'll show you something else. Here's one, The Homesteader's Herbal Companion. I haven't even looked at that one yet. Way of Chinese Herbs. The Way of Herbs. This is a fantastic book. This is a fantastic book. I'm telling you, we're benefiting from this information right now. Right now. My backyard is full of herbs. My oldest son, 14 years old, he's got a huge herbal garden out there. 13-year-old daughter, same thing. The things that they learn and understand, they're doing things to help us get healthy. I can have a headache. My son makes a little headache tea. I take it in shots every 15 minutes. Before I know it, my headache is gone. I can get a bite from fire ants where I'd swell up like my hand, like I'm a 300-pound man. Nothing that anybody has ever done for me. No over-the-counter, no drugs, no steroids, no nothing could ever make that go away. I'm swollen for a week or two. I've got itching, oozing sores. It itches up my arm or up my leg depending on where I've been bitten. If I'm bitten on the foot, I can't wear a shoe. My son made a fomentation, which is just tea. It's just steeping it the right way so you don't burn off the essential oils. Knows how I'm supposed to apply it. I apply it overnight in a soaking wet gauze, as hot as I can stand it, right out of the tea kettle or whatever. Wrap it up in plastic. Overnight, all of my symptoms are gone. The swelling is 100% gone. The itching, the swelling, gone. Gone. The doctors will tell you that the drugs, they work fast. None of these herbal things work. It's nonsense. That's nonsense. That's pseudoscience. This is real. The New American Herbal, that's a good book. Fermented Foods for Health. This is what I do. Now I read history. I'm reading a World War II book. I'm reading a book about child trafficking in our country. That's a heavy book. My wife read it. I'm reading it now. It's important stuff to know. This is amazing. This is the Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. I'm telling you, blow your mind to read this and understand what is out here. I wish I could read this whole book to you. I mean, all these different corns, full of protein, full of antioxidants, full of copper, full of all the good things that your body needs to function properly that you don't get, that are in fact even being stripped out of your body. I mean, one of the things that happens on a cellular level is the EMFs strip the copper out of our body, and then our body takes what it can, and we don't have, you got to eat hummus. There's other foods that you can eat to get copper, but most people don't. And then your body will take whatever metals it finds in there and rebuilds the cells with those metals, including mercury and aluminum. There's carrots in here that they call them black nebula carrots. The carrots are like, they're super dark purple, and they're full of all sorts of amazing things. There's beans in here that are big as a person, kale, there's a million different kind of radishes. There's beets that don't taste like dirt. There's a million kinds of peppers. I mean, look at this stuff. I've got my oldest son and my oldest daughter doing yard work for one of my clients, and when they get paid, you know what they do? They buy seeds and they plant them. We're learning what we can now. Part of it for us to build our ark is to know how to live when what hits the fan. And it's gonna. But don't be afraid of the virus. Don't be afraid of the corrupted creation. Because that fear will chase you right into the arms of the one that's trying to harm you. Please understand that we don't know what's going on. What is the number now? I think I closed the website. I had it open, the Wuhan counter there. How many deaths? All but 2 of them in China. What do we really know? They got 5G over there, guys. They're literally spraying clouds of chemicals on the people. In the entire city. Chemicals that can make people do exactly what you see in these videos that are out there to scare the crap out of you. God, I hope some of you watch these videos. I know I talk too long. I'm trying to put this information out here so that you pay attention. Father, help me. 813 deaths, 811 in China, 37,565 cases of the coronavirus. $37,198 in China. What do we really know? I know that China has a history of making people disappear and harvesting their organs. I know that. I've read about it. What's really going on? What's really going on? Get ready, but not in fear. And don't fear this. Don't fear this. Shalom, friends. Well-being in every way. Until next time.